everybody, and welcome back to the HerVoice DCU Podcast. It's been a hot minute since a new episode has been up, but it is going into week 13, into our last week of college, which is absolutely insane. I have loved every single second of making this podcast. In case you forgot, hello, I'm Angela. I am your podcast coordinator. And this week, it is the beginning of the end, sadly. We got Lora, our chairperson, Emily, our editor, two beautiful contributors, Roisin and Kayley on. And of course, I'm on the pod this week too. Just to round up our experience about HerCampus, the benefits, what highs, lows, everything. We just have a brilliant chat. And hopefully anybody who wants to join HerCampus in the future can listen to this episode, and the next episode is going to be with a committee just to see what it's like. I've loved every single second of being in HerCampus this year, and I won't hold you any more. Also, our podcast is up on YouTube now. If you just look up HerVoice DCU Podcast, all of the episodes are up on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, anywhere you can get your podcasts. And I hope you guys enjoy this episode. So this week is one of our last episodes, and we've got a couple of contributors on. Finally, it took us so long, but we made it. And we're just going to be talking about how this year has gone. It's been Zoom University for the whole year, sadly. And I'm personally in first year, so I've been on campus twice. So this year has been very, very interesting for me. What does everybody else think?
Doing your final year from home is unnatural, and I never planned on it, but like, my God, I think it's honestly been low-key one of the most valuable things that's happened to me in the last 4 years. Like, I've learned so much, like, about myself and just resilience, and like how much I'm able to cope under like pressure and stuff. And like, as grim as it's been not being able to have a social life for it's Emily and I's final year, we're in the same course. Like, I've not seen Emily once this year. Like, that's bizarre. So I think it's been such a learning curve, but it's also just like, I hope it's so much better for next year.
Because I don't know if I can do another year of just this online-ness.
How's that been for you though, Angela, doing your whole first year at home and like trying to make friends and stuff? Like, how have you coped with that?
Oh, like, honestly, societies are like the only place that I've made friends with, because I personally didn't bond with anybody in my course, because firstly it's so big, and secondly there just wasn't anybody that I meshed with very well. But I have to say, it's my last week of college and I still don't really know how to write an essay, if I'm very honest. I feel like I just didn't learn anything this year, which is so bad.
Don't worry, it's my last week of my degree and I don't know how to write an essay either.
Exactly. I'm in the end stage of the second year and I think it's still a struggle, but I really feel for you being in first year and like, you know, your whole experience, because at least everyone else has, you know, a bit of an idea of the on-campus life, but you have been so cheated. So hopefully next year you will get to have more of like a college experience.
Sorry, Roisin, that must have been bizarre for you though, doing what would you have done last year? Maybe your first semester, was it your first semester you did online and then you had to move?
Me, so I'm in second year now, so yeah. Oh, but like, yeah, the whole year this year has been online for me, yeah. Like,
and then you, like, what did you have in first year then? You had like your first semester?
So yeah, the first semester and then the second one of first year, and then halfway through that it was March, and yeah, obviously the pandemic hit then, so
Angela are kind of in the same boat if you think about it.
Yeah,
you only had a few more months more on Angela than on campus, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, that's true.
It's grim, like.
And how are you finding that though with like classmates and stuff? Because I know, except for Laura and one or two other people, I barely talk to anyone in my class anymore. I just talk to people from HerCampus. Like, are you finding that the same, or?
Oh yeah, well, at least I am. I'm doing one of my group projects all by myself because I just can't talk to other people. They just won't respond to my texts.
That's the thing though, it's so much easier to bury your head in the sand when you're online. Like, it's so easy for me to not reply to anyone for days and just be like, oh, sorry, I'm busy. College is so hectic. You're literally in bed.
Yeah, I definitely feel like even though it's obviously been hard online, the fact that we did like spend time with each other even for like 6 months, like obviously it was cut short, but my course are really nice, and we do like have a good group chat going and stuff like that. So we're definitely one of the luckier ones in that sense.
Kayley, how have you found the last year? Like, how have you coped with kind of maintaining like college friendships and trying to study online? Like, have you found that, like, did you find that transition easy, or did you kind of struggle a bit?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, like, for me, I was in my final year last year, and like that was fine. I didn't mind because it was like the second half of the last semester, and then like my master met anybody on my course, so it's just strictly been on through WhatsApp that we've been talking. But it's been good because people have actually like gotten to know each other online, and we've had like Zooms and things like that. And like we plans to meet up during the summer, all going well, like restrictions are lifted. So I've made friendships, but it's just weird that I'll probably graduate and never have stepped foot in DCU.
That's insane though. Like, sorry, you were a master's student, weren't you?
Yeah, I'm doing the master's in social media communications. I did my undergrad in journalism like you, but I did it in UL.
Right, okay. How did you find then? Because obviously the BA is kind of whatever, but like doing your master's fully online is like, I don't know, I couldn't do it. I'd feel like I just wasn't getting enough out of it.
Yeah, I mean, I asked some of the, because you can do our course part-time as well over 2 years, or full-time in the year. So I'm doing it full-time to get it done and over with. But some people I know, they said it was very much the same last year as well. Like, it's not a very practical course.
Right.
Even though you think it would be, but it's a shock for me. I was like, what is an essay? But yeah, I found it okay. It's just, it's been hard not being able to physically go up to lectures. I think that's been the worst part for me.
Totally. I'd love to hear what like everyone's kind of main positives of the year were, like kind of what have been like kind of your highlights of the year, because even though we've been at home, I still feel like I've had a really great productive year, especially in terms of like our campus. I feel like this society really somehow in a virtual space, I think her campus seriously thrived this year more than we have the past say 3 or 4 years that this has been going on. We've really succeeded. So I'd love to know kind of how everyone's like your triumphs of the last year and kind of focus more on the good, because I think there has been a lot of positives to this whole mess.
Mine would be HerCampus, to be completely honest. I feel like I've actually made friends. Like, I wouldn't care if I had to talk to any of the girls by themselves. There wouldn't be any awkwardness. Same with the contributors. It wouldn't just be the committee. Like, anyone I've met, I'd have a solid friendship with, like, go out with them for the night. And I just think that's great. It's like, it feels like I've met friends that I could actually talk to when I finish college as well, which is really nice.
Yeah, no, I totally get what you mean, because I did not feel like I had that. And it's literally nothing against people in our course as well. They're all lovely people, but as a course, I don't feel like we ever really gelled. And I totally get what you mean as well. Like, I just never really found, like, I always say it's like my tribe in that course either. Probably because I just don't want to be a journalist anymore. So I'm like, oh.
Yeah, it's not as much in common then. And then like we're leaving soon. Like, how are we going to see them again? I don't think so. Unless we graduate on campus, I don't think we'll see these people. Like, it's not very likely we'll see them. But like, I'd have no problem like meeting up with Jews every few months and like having like boozy brunches together. Like, I'd love that.
Yeah.
Like,
I think this year made me kind of see, because I always knew like clubs and socks in kind of college always went on about like the value of like joining clubs and societies in college and like making friends that way, and I just never really got it until we all got sent home to basically do college from our bedrooms. But the relationships that I'd made in second year through HerCampus kind of stayed really strong, and then I made new ones this year as well, which has been amazing. I did not think that would happen virtually. Like our campus correspondent Erin Byrne is like my right hand woman, and so are you, Emily. You're probably the left hand. Like, the tree. Anytime I'm having a goddamn meltdown, it's either one of you that like gets a text. And I've never met Erin. It's insane. So it's definitely been like a crutch for me, I think, in the last year. It's kept me sane and like busy.
Yeah, like I'm the same with Alice, our deputy editor. Like, I feel like I'm so close to her. We have the best laughs ever, and she lives up the road from me. She lives a half an hour walk away from me, and I've never met her. which is insane.
It's like really like Small World type vibes, but it's like you're literally in the same university. Shut up.
I was just gonna say I think it makes a difference when you have a group like with a club or society where like everybody kind of has common interests. So like we can all just talk about like, you know, whatever, like pop culture, like we were talking there earlier before this about Prince Philip and things like that. You know, like it's just even having people to have a chat with on Zoom, you know, like because I feel like this year I've just been on my own all the time, even though like I've been studying and working from home, but it's just very isolating. So it's nice to be kind of feel like you're part of a group.
Totally agree. It's like curbs that loneliness that has came along with just being told to never leave your room again and just do college from home. I totally agree with you. It's like it's made me feel so much better. It's curbs that completely during the week. I totally get what you mean.
Yeah, I'd agree. I think like this has definitely been one of the highlights of my year. You know, initially I started out just writing pieces like in semester 1 of this year. And then this semester I've been going to the meetings more, and it really makes a difference just having this space, you know, to talk to the girls, and these are all so lovely. So it really has been like one of the highlights of my year for sure.
A huge credit of that genuinely though is to Emily. Like I kind of came to her with the idea of doing the weekly contributors meetings this year because I was like, how the hell are we going to make people socialize and like want to be a part of our campus, but more so like want to be a part of it, not because they need it for portfolio or they needed to like build their profile, but because like they want to make friends. And Emily really took it in her stride and like made it her own, obviously with Alice's help, but like I just think that the community kind of spirit that we created here is like Emily played such a huge part in that, because she manned the contributors meetings every week and I wasn't even able to make it most weeks. I'm the bloody chairperson. But like
I love the contributors meeting. Like I look forward to them so much because we always talk about the stupidest things beforehand. Like, and I don't even know where the conversations come from. Like someone started talking about Twilight and we're all sitting there for about 20 minutes talking about all these things we used to love when we were teenagers. And like it's so fun. And I just love meeting everyone every week. And I feel like everyone that is consistently writing anyway, I can see how much better they've gotten to write. Like they never started out badly. Like everyone's getting so much more confident and relaxed and just really sure of themselves in their writing, and it's just so cool. Like I don't even have to edit things anymore. Like it's that good. I just have to read it and be like, cool, that's done. Like it's amazing. And I feel like the meetings do help because like we try to encourage people as much as possible to and let them know they're doing well. Because if we didn't, like how would we communicate through a Facebook page? Like, we wouldn't be able to just constantly put up articles on a Facebook page and not have events. It wouldn't work that way.
The meetings are such a good way. Like for me, anytime I go to the meetings at 6 o'clock on a Friday, it like kicks off my weekend and I'm buzzing. Oh, sorry.
I've definitely like gained in confidence in writing because like I used to hate English in school, absolutely hate it. And then I was like, you know what? I might as well give an article a go. Like in I think November I took one, and then I was like, oh, I kind of like this. So I was on this like writing buzz for a while. And I've kind of developed my own writing style, and the girls have been so like helpful. If I like need anything, I'll just be like, oh, how do I write this or whatever. So HerCampus has definitely taken me out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, that's the thing as well. Like we have general kind of writing styles of just like conversation anecdotal. Like that's just a general blank thing. But I feel like everyone has their own way of writing. And it's just so fun to read everyone's articles because they're all unique in their own way. And I think that's because we all come from such different courses. Like, aren't you in marketing, Angela?
Yeah, I'm in marketing innovation technology. So like I would not be writing about, you know, beauty in my degree.
Exactly. And even like our Erin, our campus correspondent, she's an EPL. So is Aoife McGo, our secretary. She's a great writer as well. Like it's amazing to see how diverse it can be when people are allowed to be creative.
I think that's one of our just such strong points though, is that it's not just journalism students or media students that's writing for us. It's girls from all different backgrounds, different demographics, and it just gives, I've really seen it in our website this year more than any other year. We've had such just diversity and creativity, and just the quality of our articles has been so much better, and the content, because you're never reading the same articles twice anymore. And especially I think our writers have just been encouraged and like really push to pitch their own stories. And when you pitch your own stories, you're writing about stuff that you want to write about. And then people, it just changes the shape of the content. It stops Emily from having to guess what people want to read because they're already telling her what they want to write. Do you know that kind of way? I think it's a side effect of kind of the community that we made this year, because everyone's just super comfortable with each other. Like you can kind of throw any random idea and it's not going to get shot down. If anything, it's just going to be reworked. Do you know that kind of way?
Yeah, definitely. Like, and I love when people pitch their stories. Like you said, they're so much better then. And you also find what type of subject you like to write about, because there's so many. There's like 18 in HerCampus, but then you find that niche one. I mean, Alice, when we were doing the pitches this morning, we noticed we were making pitches and looking at them and saying, this person would like to write that one. We knew what people would like to write and who we had an idea of who was going to take what, which is super handy, because then we can say like dating ones, Aoife likes to take those ones. And if we read the title and we're like, Aoife wouldn't even write that, then we wouldn't bother pitching it. That type of thing. Like we just know now not to bother pitching it if we know the writers aren't going to take it.
Yeah, no, that's actually the bit about Aoife's gas as well. That you can gauge if a sex and relationships pitch is going to be good if you think that Aoife will take it.
Exactly. Even if she doesn't take it, it's like, yeah, we won. Like she'll take that. It's good.
I'm trying to think like what are the other benefits to just this year. Like I think another one is just like meeting like-minded people. Like I obviously have my best friends from school who I absolutely adore. They're like more like family than anything else, but it's just been really nice to be in a space really consistently with other girls that kind of have the same goals and aspirations and ideas and thoughts and just views on things, maybe, or even different views, because I think I've been opened up to a lot of different views this year, like mainly with like sex and relationships. I've kind of become more open with, I've become more comfortable with the idea of being single and just taking time for myself, especially going through a degree. And Aoife McGill did a really great podcast with Angela and myself, I believe.
Yeah.
And it was about like just female pleasure and like owning that, and that's just, it was something that was never spoken about in my house. So like, I don't know, I think that's another one of the great benefits of this year. It's like I've had more time to give to like going to workshops that I usually wouldn't go to on campus because I commute. Like I'm 3 hours from college. Like I'm not going to stay around till 6 p.m. to go to a bloody workshop, but I've had the time to do it this year. So I just think that's been another really good positive of this year.
Yeah, I've definitely grown as a person, because in like secondary school you wouldn't be talking about female pleasure or any of that, and it's definitely helped me transition into more like big girl topics and, you know, talk about more adult stuff and more kind of explicit content rather than everything being so PG. That's what I absolutely love about the kind of more raunchy topics that we have in HerCampus, both on the podcast and in the magazine.
Yeah, like I wouldn't personally write myself because I never know what to be saying, but I always, when I'm thinking of like article ideas, or like I'm sure it's the same thing in podcast ideas, if you think it's going to make someone uncomfortable, that's how you know you have a good one. Like if someone's going to listen to this and cringe inside because they're uncomfortable with the way society is, then it's a good topic to talk about, and it's important to talk about as well than if people aren't open to talking about it.
I also just think how chill and open we were about it. Like no one, not that I remember anyway, felt uncomfortable talking about it. Like that kind of breaks down the stigma of like feeling shame around sex, feeling like you have to please your partner instead of yourself. Like even I think I feel like we would have talked about periods at some point in this podcast, like we talk about literally everything else. Like it breaks down the stigma and makes other people feel more comfortable to share their own stories. And that's so important, because if you have something going on that you feel uncomfortable about, if you hear someone else talking about it, it's going to make the conversation feel easier, and it's going to make yourself just feel a lot better about it. So it's definitely one of the things I'm super proud of in the society. It's just that we, like, people just feel so comfortable to open up with each other. And it's really safe, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that drew me to HerCampus as well, because I obviously like wrote for newspapers and other publications like during my undergrad and my work placement and stuff. But like I don't think I'd seen anything like HerCampus DCU before, you know, in relation to talking about women's issues, and like you mentioned, female pleasure and periods and things like that, just very, you know, such a candid way. Like, I just think that's such a good thing to talk about and to kind of start discussions around as well.
Totally. And I agree that like I really do mean that we are doing things that other college publications are not doing as far as our content. Like, I cannot wait for the magazine to come out, because the articles that we have are like insane. They're so bloody good. And we're talking about, it's like, if you think the blog is kind of if you think the blog is quite brave in what we talk about, I honestly think the magazine kind of steps it up even that extra step further.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I've shown someone sneaky peek of like the article pictures that I know, and she was like, I've never seen those pictures before, like in any art, like any magazines. I've never seen them talk about stuff like that, and like that's so helpful as well. With like, people are gonna, I feel like people are gonna enjoy it more, and just hope no one tries to give a copy to their grannies or anything. But after rip out a few pages,
it would be lit. It would be bathed in bloody holy water.
You'd have special PG editions or something where like half the pages, like 90% of the pages aren't there.
Like, don't give it to your sister in TY.
Or do, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Or do.
I agree.
Yeah, no, we hit, the magazine's gonna be really good. We hit on like I don't even want to give sneak peeks. It's just creme de la creme of, I think, her.
I think the way we done it was so good as well. We're gonna just do it like myself, Alice, Laura and Erin taking up pictures, and we just got the whole committee involved and got them to take on a section that they thought they'd be confident doing, and the pictures were just incredible then, because everyone had so many. We had about 20 for the sex and relationship section. We had to narrow it down to 4. I'm sure you can guess who was in charge of that section, but like, it was insane, and like, we've reused some of the pictures on the website. They're so good.
Yeah, no, we're just blessed with kind of the talent that we've acquired, and like I think we're so lucky as well that people like want to write for us, because whenever I think of, especially like I remember being in first year, and when I thought of journalism at DCU, it was College View, and that was it. Like, or if I wanted to do podcasting, it was MPS. And those two societies are great. They're so good at what they do. The people that they have running them every year, like their committees are always like super, super talented. But being that kind of big and well known and having the profile that they did, I always just felt a little bit intimidated. And that's on me. It's really not on them. But I remember finding a society where it was kind of mostly women. There was no bitchy atmosphere. Like, there's no competitiveness in it, which I love. I think that's one thing that I always struggled with. Literally, like, I'm 23 and I see it all the time now. It's like being in environments where with other women, and they are the stereotypical bitchy kind of nature where it feels super competitive. I have not experienced that once in the last 2 years that I've been with this society, and it's been like the most eye-opening thing. Like, my attitude towards other women has completely changed, and that also makes me feel better about myself, do you know, that kind of way. So that's something that I'm super proud of as well.
You couldn't have said it any better, honestly.
Especially if you come from like all girls schools, like, that's insane. That should not be like, I want that like criminalized to fucking throw to gender separate kids going to school, because it's just insane.
I know, because you're either going to be like the popular well-known girl in school, or you're going to be the one that has to deal with people being bitchy to you constantly. There's no in between. You can't just be by yourself and left alone. No,
I do think that it kind of comes with age though.
Yeah.
You just develop a bit of cop whenever you get to college, because no one's going to deal with you if you don't have any cop.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of way. No one's going to want to bitchy schoolgirl in the corner.
I know sometimes people, you know, with spaces like this are like, oh, how come it's only just girls? But I think it's so important, you know, at times, you know, obviously, like, this could be just a bit of a generalization, but like, you know, in college and stuff like that, there's still this culture where lads are the ones that speak out and their voices get heard. And I think at times it's less likely for girls. They're less inclined to speak out. And that's why I think spaces like this are important, you know. It's good for female voices to be heard.
Yeah, like, everything we do is aimed at empowering women. So like it is important that we are just speaking out about whatever we want, because if it isn't women, then how are we supposed to empower them and inspire them and everything? Because isn't that our tagline, isn't it, like empowering women? I can't say it. It's very hard to say, but empower women.
I will say it is one of my biggest regrets though of the last year. It's one of the only regrets I have is that I didn't make a point of marketing us, or not marketing us, but you know, like kind of targeting men, because I also just think that for women to kind of move forward, men have to be a part of the conversation and they have to understand why their role is so important.
Yeah.
And it's not that boys have to come and join HerCampus and just write about sex and relationships, tampons, whatever, like it's not that, but like they could come and literally just write anything they want pretty much, because I've said that since like September. If you write it, we will literally publish it. Like we are not fussy really with the content that goes on the site. But like, we
had one fella write for us. We tried at the very start to try to get some people involved from like our course. We thought if they're in final year, that might be a bit more of a push, but it wasn't. We had one fella write a sports article for us, which was really good, but they just never done it again. Because it is
the allies though as well.
Yeah, that's true.
Like that is true. It's something that I hope the next committee will kind of see and learn from, and hopefully agree with me that like there is space for men in the society.
Yeah, because I'd love it to be like a bit more inclusive. Like it's inclusive now, but if we had, like, it wouldn't even have to be all butch stuff, because obviously some men are men, and then some, obviously all men are men, you know what I'm trying to say, like some men are into like makeup and stuff, so it'd be lovely to have stuff like skincare tips for men, makeup tips for men, because their skin is different than our skin. So even if we put out a skincare article, who's going to say that if they try that on their skin it's going to work, because it is different. So it would be nice to have articles or like style tips and stuff that they could read and relate to themselves as well, and know that they're welcome to read our articles and it's not a scary thing. Or if
that's
we
a really
write
good
a
idea.
sex article, like if we write a sex article, they're not going to be like, oh wow, you're a sex journalist. Like
that happened to me. Remember I told you that?
Yeah.
Jesus Christ, I went on a date with someone before Christmas and I told them that I write about sex and relationships, and they texted me the next day being like, whoa, great seeing you, sex journalist. I was like,
no.
Sexualized my potential profession? Weird. Carry on.
It would help normalize things a bit more if men were reading our articles, because they're going on to read stuff that they want, and then they'll probably see other articles that we're writing and realize, oh, that's actually what a woman wants, and like it's not all about me, that type of thing.
Learn something. Like you, it's not information that they're going to find unhelpful. They
exactly.
They genuinely would use it at some point. It's a good idea, and it's like a way of like finding these things out without asking your girlmate and like making her feel. Read a fucking blog. Like it's like so easy. We literally put it out there for anyone to see.
Exactly.
And on that beautiful note, I say that at the end of every podcast. It's like, and on that note, I think that was a great episode, just to kind of round up what HerCampus is about and just how amazing this society is. Couldn't have gotten through first year without it. And hopefully next week we'll have some more amazing insights about the society, so stay tuned for that.